Hello, everyone. It is 12:30 Alberta time. I don't know if Saskatchewan changes time.
No, they don't.
They don't change time.
They're the same time we are.
Okay, so it's 12:30 Saskatchewan time too. We are sitting in Swift Current at their casino. It's a beautiful casino. Wait till you see it. It's absolutely gorgeous, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
And we wanted to sort of catch you up. Yesterday was a super busy day. We started off at 6 in the morning because we thought it might be worthwhile to go down and see if we could park in front of the first building we had to be to, which my appointment was at 9:15. So yesterday I had doctor's appointments all day long pretty much. Well, all morning until early afternoon, and then we were done. Anyway, we started off, like I said, at 6 in the morning. We got dressed. We had a little bit of toast for breakfast.
And coffee.
And coffee.
Had to have my coffee.
And coffee. We've had to switch to instant coffee because we put our little other one in storage. It helps with space for one thing, but also the kettle doesn't drain as much as the coffee maker did. And instant coffee is much cheaper. It's not as good, but it's cheaper. So, we have to look at everything. And we don't mind instant coffee. I mean, I know that there are people that would say that's sacrilege, but it's really just a better choice. You'll have to pardon me. I have to keep wiping the hair out of my face because I've got the window open behind me. There's such a beautiful breeze. And it's a breeze. It's not a huge wind. It's actually quite nice where we are. It's beautiful. The RV area that they've got has trees out. There's a road, like a frontage road, and then the highway is further over. And there's trees all along, right next to where we're sitting. Room enough for us to put our slide out, so we have lots of room. We have our living room, and it's just a really nice place. It's not super busy here. It's really quiet. I mean, even with the window open, we can't hear the traffic going on the road because there's a bit of a hill, and since sound travels up, not down, you don't hear the traffic on the road. So where we are is really nice. I'm really happy. So yesterday morning, after 6 o'clock, we had our breakfast. And then about, 6:45, I think it might have been, that we finally got going. And we had spent overnight at the Walmart parking, so we kind of waved goodbye to Walmart. We headed into the downtown area, which was where the first building was. Lethbridge's doctor's offices are terrible for people that are living in motorhomes and have to access them. We drove down there. There was zero parking. They were painting lines, and
they painted the lines during the night, and they still had all the cones up so that they didn't want anyone parking and messing up their lines.
Yeah, so we couldn't park in front of the building. So we drove around several blocks looking for some place that was big enough for our motorhome. Now, we don't have an overly big motorhome. Our motorhome is actually could be considered a small one because it's only 32 feet. Now, 32 feet might not mean much to you. So if you're in a parking lot and you look at when they've got two parking spaces end to end, that's how much room we are, because each one of those parking spaces is 16 feet long. And they're 8 feet wide, or 10 feet wide, some of them, just to give you the extra space on either side. So that's how big we are. We fit into two of those end to end. And so finding a spot that's big enough for us to sit in is a little awkward. So we drove around. We got sick of driving around. We probably drove around for 3/4 of an hour looking for a place, and there was none. So we drove over to the mall, which is quite a ways away, but we figured, well, it's early. We'll sit at the mall. We'll see if they remove those cones before we have to go into the building. So about 8 o'clock, we finally went back, and we had a look again. There was nothing, but we could see a spot in the residential area that was across a main road, and there was a spot that was big enough for us to fit into, and it wasn't charging you parking amounts, because the thing with downtown, most places, is they have the parking fees for everything. And so we drove over there and we parked there, and then we had to get my wheelchair out and all the rest, and we went down to the building we needed to be in. We got in there shortly after 8:30, which we were able then to go into RHS, which is the people who supplied me with oxygen, and give them the mobile device that I have been dragging around in a drawer since we moved into the motorhome. For a while it was in the way in the bedroom, and then we just found an empty drawer and stuck it in. So there's no point in my dragging it around, and my oxygen has been so much better this last week. Being in the motorhome has been really, really good for my health and for Gary's. We've actually both lost weight, which is awesome. I've probably lost 20 pounds. Gary's probably lost the same. And it's because we're eating differently, but we're moving around a lot more. I'm getting out and, climbing up and down the stairs to get in and out of the motorhome, and Gary's pushing me around, and we're going into stores together. And
I'm not getting into trouble pushing you around.
No.
Must clarify that.
yes, I don't yell at him for pushing me in that way. If he starts pushing me in other ways, that's a whole other story.
We're not going to go there.
No,
Okay?
we won't go there. Anyway, yeah, so then we went upstairs because I had to go for what they call a lung function test. So, and it always wears me out. But you're breathing into a machine in different ways so they can test how your lungs are doing. And that all was going to get onto the computer, and Dr. Wild would have access to it.
The good thing is she passed. She does not have to have oxygen, which is amazing.
Yeah. After having oxygen for 3 years, more than 3 years, it's just amazing that I don't have to have oxygen anymore. I'm breathing good on my own. We went to Dr. Wild. Our appointment was 9:15 with Dr. Wild. No, it was 9:15 at the lung function clinic. It was 11 at Dr. Wild's. And we arrived quite a bit early because we just went straight there. Again, we had to drive around the block several times to look for a place. There was finally one that was almost in front of their door. And we parked there, and then as vehicles moved, we moved forward. So we finally got right in front of the building, which was kind of fun. Now, I've been seeing Dr. Wild for as long as I've known Gary. Gary actually went with me to my first appointment with Dr. Wild. So, and him and I had just moved in together. I think we moved in together in July, and this was, I think, in late August or early September, was my first appointment with Dr. Wild. Anyway, so I've known Dr. Wild that long, and over the course of the 14 years, coming up 14 years, we've been through a lot. I mean, he has really looked after me through many, many situations with my lungs. Has always been really good, and very, very kind, very open to listening, wanting to know like what else is going on in your life, because when you've got stresses, when you've got other things going on in your life, it very often affects things like your eyesight, your hearing, your headaches, your breathing. Pretty much every part of your body can be affected by stress. And then I got so sick for years and years, and I mean, it was just, but he's always been there. So when we went in to see him, we sat down and he came in. We'd been in, I had to go for an x-ray first to see if I still had the pleural effusion, because I felt like it was gone. There was a tiny, tiny bit left. He said it'll probably never go away because there's so little fluid in there. But he said, so it'll probably always be there. But it doesn't affect me anymore. My lungs are able to fully inflate. I am able to fully breathe properly, which is amazing. It's been an amazing thing. But anyways, when he came into the office that we were waiting for him in, first thing I said before he even sat down was, I said, You have to go out and look on the street. That's our house. And he just laughed and he says, okay. And out he went. And he came back in and he congratulated us on having, a home. Because both of my specialists know all this stuff that's going on with the apartment and all the stuff, and why we're living in a motorhome, and that we are living in a motorhome, because things like that are important for your specialist in particular to know, even your family doctor, to know these things. They're not going to tell the government that you're living in a motorhome and don't really live at that address you're giving. So if you're in this situation, don't be afraid to talk to your doctors and tell them, because they're just not going to share it. They need to know it so that they can understand what's affecting whatever is going on with you. So we finished with Dr. Wild. He was so happy that I am looking so much better. I'm feeling so much better. I have more life to me than I've had in many, many years. Feeling better, not depressed, and quite content with now being in this motorhome, because I know that it's been good for me. It's good for my health. So we're going to settle into it. We're settled into the lifestyle now for a while. We'll probably be in the motorhome for at least a year. We want to get our debts all paid off. And we want to, be pretty debt free and have some money maybe in the bank, so that when we do go into a place, we're going into it in a much better position. We also are going to need enough money to be able to move all our stuff from Alberta to wherever it is we settle. And that's probably going to cost at least 10 grand. So we will be putting one of our credit cards at least that high again. But it's manageable at that point if it's only one. Anyway, I digressed yet again. You should be used to that now. So then after Dr. Wild, we went and we had to go to Walmart, because that's where our meds were. And they had our meds all ready to go. We picked up a couple of loaves of bread and a few other things. And we grabbed a chicken, one of those pre-roasted chickens, and some potato salad, pre-made potato salad. And we brought that into the motorhome, drove to our next stop to Dr. Leishman, which my appointment was at 1:15, and we had lunch before we went in. So we, grabbed the chicken and had some chicken and the potato salad so that we would have something to eat, because we need to eat regularly or we're really messing up our systems. And Gary in particular needs to eat regularly because he does have diabetes, and he's got it under control, and he has a medication that he takes once a day, and sometimes he has to eat a little more often, but he's been able to stay on just pills and not have to go on to needles, which has been a godsend, because you don't really want to have to go on needles if you can help it. They're awkward to carry around with you, for one thing. So we ate and we went to Dr. Leishman, and the pressure in my eye had lowered my right eye. That's why we were back with Dr. Leishman, is because I'm on a new medication. And Dr. Leishman he's just so awesome. He gave me 2 more sample boxes of the medication just in case, because he knows that we may be moving to Ontario, and it'll kind of carry us through while we wait for medicals to change province and things like that. So we're not sure. Moving to Ontario isn't a positive at this point, but we are going down there to see if it can be. Anyway, then we finished with Dr. Leishman, and then we went and got fuel.
And we hit the road.
And then we hit the road. So Gary, you want to talk about that? That's your turn.
It was windy. Oh, God. It was terribly windy out there. And we used a lot of fuel, and our gas gauge just kept going. So I had estimated we would get about 10 miles per gallon. Yesterday we were getting about 6. And we used a lot of fuel. And we should have had enough to go to Regina, but we don't. We have to get some more fuel before we head out. We're not planning on moving much today. We're going to go into the casino and see what it looks like inside. And we're waiting for tonight because we're expecting that all the lights around the casino is really going to show up at night. So that's tonight's project. I'm going to grab my still camera and I'm going to shoot some pictures of the nightlife of Swift Currents Casino.
Yeah, we might have to put some on the video just to show you what it looks like in, with still pictures at night. It has these big torches on the front. They're humongous and they've got metal flames coming out the top, and we're thinking that's probably going to light up and possibly even flicker at night as if it's flames. So that should be really, really cool to see. The front of the building is kind of curved and it has all these carvings on the front. But talk about like where we stayed, how we traveled, different places we stopped.
We stopped at
Gull Lake.
Tabor.
Tabor, yes.
That was the first stop, and we had a little rest there.
Yeah.
I had a little rest. I don't know if June.
I laid down. I laid down for a few minutes.
Anyway, I needed the rest because being up 6 in the morning, I'm getting a little older. I'm finding I don't bounce back quite as good.
Yeah.
And then we hit the road again, carried on to a place in Saskatchewan called Maple Creek. Now, 25 years ago or 30 years ago, I was into that truck stop. The bumps are still there. They've never.
It looks like an earthquake, like with the cracks going down and the big bubbly bits on the side. All through the parking lot. I mean, it was just horrendous going through there.
And it was dusty, and we thought, oh, I don't want to stay there. It's just gross.
Yeah.
But years ago, there used to be another truck stop at a place called Gull Lake, and that's where I did the video this morning. So we got there, and by gosh, they kept their parking lot pretty good.
Reasonable.
It had rained probably the night before, and there was puddles of water.
Yeah.
But we got in there and parked in a dry spot, and yes, the trucks came in at night, and there was the odd train that went by.
Yeah. And
boy, they were sure hoofing her through real quick and making a lot of racket.
Yeah.
But I did the video this morning to show what the place was going to look like. I don't know if it turned out because the wind was so terrible there.
Yeah, the sound might be odd.
Yeah. But anyway.
But we'll put it up anyway.
It may or may not show up.
Yeah.
Then we got to Swift Current. I was only 56 kilometers away.
Mm-hmm.
And we got in here, we found the casino.
Yeah,
I sort of had an idea where it was. I've never been here before.
Yeah.
It was never here at the time I was working in Swift Current. But I'd seen it a few times as we drove by when I was driving trucks. So I sort of had a bit of an idea. I had no idea how to get to it. And
it was pretty easy.
We saw it and we just took the turn off. And
they had an underpass rather than an overpass, so that was really good.
Yeah, so here we are. Found the place. Parking lot said no vehicles over 2 ton. I thought, oh my goodness, we're over 2 ton.
Yeah, yeah.
But years ago, I had
for Canadians and Europeans and people who use metric, that's 2,000 pounds. A ton is 2,000 pounds, so that's 4,000 pounds. We're over that. So you can look that up on the internet if you want to know what that is in metric weight.
Years ago, I had a car that was 7,000 pounds.
Yeah.
I couldn't even park in this parking lot.
Yeah.
My car was too heavy. There's a 1966 Lincoln.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a heavy brute.
Yeah.
But anyway, so now we're here. As we look out, the wind's blowing nice, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's not rocking us.
No.
And we can sit and look out our...
There's even a picnic table right over there that we could go and sit at and if we wanted to, but we have to avoid the sun as much as we can, so it makes it a little hard. But in the evening, we might go and sit out there. You never know.
We look out our front windows and we see gophers.
Yeah.
They're little
they're just playing, having
animals,
fun
and
over
they're
in the field
running
over there on the
around.
hill.
Yeah. They live underground.
Yeah.
And
Gophers are little. They're sitting up. They're only about this tall. Like they sit up on their haunches, and they sit like this. They're so cute.
yeah,
Foreigners hate them because they make holes everywhere, but they're really adorable.
Yeah, horses break their legs.
Yeah,
Stepping in the holes and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
but we don't have to worry about the
Cows
motorhome
tend to walk
breaking
up
its
to them and
legs.
sniff at them. No. But yeah.
Anyway,
But yeah, there was a sign. There was a sign that said, no vehicles over this weight. And then we had gone over and parked over in another part. And then there was a big sign that said RV parking that way. So we decided to come over and have a look. And they have they've got it's funny how they've got the parking spots because they've still got the parking spots as parallel parking for cars, but they've got signs that say RV parking all along in front of them. So there's no RV or very few RVs that are that small, that car size.
that's right.
But it's good. So we just parked sideways along, so we're out of the way of the road, and put the jacks down to even us out because it's quite slanted. And yeah, I mean it's beautiful here. We're under the trees, so we've got the shade, and we can sit here and watch the traffic go by up on the hill, and it's very, very quiet. It's very peaceful. So we're going to stay here a couple of days, I think, just to relax and kind of get over being in the city and all the stress we've been going through, and get back into just being in the RV and just being tourists. We're going to be tourists and just relax into it. So
And I'm going to take my camera out and I'm going to take some photos of these little
the
critters.
little gophers and try and show you. I'll try and show them. I think there's a way of being able to put the photos into the thing. So we'll try and show you things that are still photos, because sometimes it's easier to use like the big cameras that we have to take some still photos and then just show you that way than trying to take videos. But yeah, so we're going to stay here a couple of days, then we're going to move on to Moose Jaw. There's a museum in Moose Jaw that we want to go see. We won't be able to take you inside the casino. They don't like that at all. And we won't be able to probably take you into the museum either. So we'll just have to talk about it, and
yes,
maybe
we can.
we might
can photograph inside.
we might be able to take stills inside the museum, but it might not be video. Yeah, a lot of times when you're going to these places, there's other people there, and video is a sort of a no-no, but a still camera is okay for some reason. So we may have to do it that way, but we'll show you things if we can, and if we can't, we'll talk about them. I like doing these little talking sessions every now and then, just to let you know that we're still alive and kicking.
We haven't got anything up yet.
that,
We still haven't got our Starlink.
Yeah, we still haven't got the Starlink going yet.
Soon.
We're going to try and do that in the next couple of weeks. Get the Starlink going. We tried to look at getting online. The casinos often have Wi-Fi, but they don't have. Not out in the parking lot where we can access it. And
But the hotel does.
The hotel does. There's a big Holiday Inn kind of over that direction behind us. And they have Wi-Fi, but we don't know if we can connect to it properly. And certainly probably not strong enough for us to upload. Most of the places that we find public Wi-Fi, they don't like you going on YouTube, so they actually have it blocked. And it's not because YouTube is a bad place, it's because of the amount of, what do you call that? The amount of data that you have to download to your, like, to watch the videos. And upload. So they don't like you using that much bandwidth of their system, because there's so many people are using the same system. So they quite often block places like YouTube and Instagram and all of these places, so you can't access them. But I think that's about it for this time. But we're going to go inside and have a boo around and see what we can see. And and
maybe they'll give us some money.
You never know. If you sign up for the cards, when you go into casinos, go into the desk and sign up for their card, their casino card. They generally put at least $5 on it, or at least that's what they used to do. I don't know what they do now, but they generally give you like $5 to play with on their little card. You pop that into the machine and you play once, and it doesn't matter if you win or lose, right? And then take the money out. You make money on it.
Yeah,
we've done that lots. We did that all the time when we did the Oregon coast. We stopped at lots of casinos. Every night we were at a casino if we could, because casinos usually, we've never been at one that didn't allow you to stay overnight as an RV. They don't. I mean, they're quite happy for you to be there, and most people that stay even in an RV are inside gambling, and we're not big gamblers. We're not big drinkers. We're not big anything of that kind.
Not even big eaters
anymore. We're not even big eaters anymore. So even their buffets are kind of a lost cause on us, because they cost more than what we'd ever be able to eat. So, but yeah, it's quite interesting with the casinos. But we will make sure that you can see something of it this evening if we can. We're going to be here for a couple of days. We're going to be doing some organizing in the unit. We've now gotten to a point where we've gotten everything out of here that's going out of here. And there's lots of shopping right in the area too. There's a big Canadian Tire store up the road, and there was a Safeway, and there was, I can't remember what all else.
I didn't see a Value Village though.
No, we haven't seen one of those
yet.
We saw one in the last...
Yeah, in Medicine Hat.
In Medicine Hat. Medicine Hat was bigger than I thought it was. It's actually quite a big city. And that was where we stopped we stopped at Tabor to rest, and then we went to Medicine Hat, and we were going to stop.
We had to mail.
We had to mail. I had a letter that needed to be mailed. And so we needed to find a Shoppers Drug Mart, because getting to a post office, an actual post office, is usually really difficult. They don't usually have parking for us. So if you find a Shoppers Drug Mart, they're usually in a mall, so then you usually have access to a post box, because the Shoppers Drug Marts in Canada often, if not always, have a post office in them, and it's a fully functioning post office. So you can go, and they usually have a post box outside or just inside the store where you can drop letters. So we had to mail that.
And then we had something to eat then.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst thing happened to us, I must admit.
Mm-hmm.
We started to pull out of the parking lot, and oh my goodness, the one section was full of hot rods.
Yeah.
What a terrible sight. All these beautiful painted cars.
Yeah, Gary almost had to stop and pull over, but he didn't.
No, I was scared I might get hurt. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, we wanted to get down the road, a ways, and Gary had in his head he thought we were going to be stopping at Gull Lake. And then
at Maple Creek.
Yeah, we stopped at Gull Lake. Yeah, he thought we were going to be stopping there, which wasn't, it was only like 25 kilometers or something.
No, it was...
from Medicine Hat, yes.
Yeah,
it was
100 and something.
Yeah, it was over an hour, almost 2 hours to there. But when we got there, of course, that was the place that looked like a
we would not.
No,
I would
it
not
was
stop
just,
there.
it
was
looked
terrible.
awful. It just looked like there'd been an explosion.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know. It was awful. Anyway, yeah. So we moved on, and it was quite late last night when we stopped. It was like 10 o'clock when
It
finally.
was starting to get dark.
Yeah. It was.
And I was exhausted.
It was 9:30, 10 o'clock when he was tired.
Yeah.
And we needed to stop and just relax a bit before we tried to go to bed, because otherwise you're just too wound up. I don't sleep through the night most of the time. I get up at some point in the night, and just sit up for a while. So I always have to make sure that my iPad and my Switch are both
Charged. Fully charged.
so that I can sit up and either play cards. My iPad is just for playing cards now.
I haven't got to use electrical in here yet.
Mm-hmm.
We have a big inverter underneath that's not hooked up.
It's hooked to the solar, but
What we're going to do is I have to have an extension cord that comes out around the front of the motorhome.
underneath, so nobody can see it.
And
And then
it
through the
has to come
driver's
through the
window.
driver's window.
Because it's
which
the
I
only
can-
window that opens so that you can do
Yeah.
that.
And that's how we get the electricity from that. That way we don't have to run the generator.
Yeah.
But I'm
Gary's-
going to do electrical in here, and we'll have a plug-in.
Gary's dad was
Inside.
an electrician, so he grew up knowing electricity. Just
Yeah.
for those of you who are, you shouldn't be doing electrical yourself. He's not an electrician, but he's had enough training. He knows what to do with it.
I could have been electrician,
You could have been.
but the reason I never took it up as a profession was as a kid, I kept freezing my hands when I was working. You have to work barehanded
Outside.
outside and
In the winter.
wiring new houses and stuff
In
like that.
Saskatchewan, minus 40, minus
Yeah,
30.
it's not nice. So I decided I want an inside job.
Yeah.
So I became a machinist.
Yeah, I started at the university in Saskatchewan and went from there and learned
Yeah.
computers and did stuff from there. But he is, although he's not a qualified electrician, he knows electricity well enough to be able to do what we need to do. So he's going to put a plug over from the inverter, which is right kind of below the kitchen. He's going to put a plug up into the kitchen cupboard, and so that we can just plug the things into that, and then it'll draw then off of our solar. Right now we've got 2 solar panels, an inverter for them, 4 batteries, and no access to them inside the motorhome.
Well,
They just kinda
that's
sit
not
there.
exactly true. All the lights and that run off the
Okay,
coach.
so we have
Yeah.
what he calls the coach, and I have, I
house-
just call
the
it
house
the inside,
batteries.
the inside
Yeah.
part of the engine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's going to be putting that in at some point, but it's not going to be right away. He's got some of the parts, it might need some more. But yeah, and we're going to be reorganizing a few things in the house. We may do a little videos on that. And then we're kind of going to be finished with the house. We're hoping that before we get to Ontario, we're finished with the organizing, getting everything out of boxes and into cupboards, drawers, wherever it's going to go. I've got some corkboard. It's black corkboard that I have had. I had it for, I was going to use it for making journals. But I'm going to use it for making dividers in various cupboards and drawers and things, so that everything's going to have a place, so it can go into its little slot, and then it's not going to be rolling around or getting all tangled or anything like that. I'm teaching Gary that it makes sense to roll wire and put a little zip tag on it, zip thing on it. It makes it easier to find them and get them going. You can buy zip tags, 100 in a pack for a few dollars. It's well worth doing. So we've got a bunch of wires. He's going to be sitting rolling wire for days. We've got a cupboard up above where the camera is sitting right now. There's a cupboard up there that's got camera stuff in it, so we're going to make sure that that's kind of divided, and maybe we can put some of the computer stuff up there or whatever. We've got a big drawer now that's empty from taking the mobile O2 unit out, and so computer stuff can go into there. Things like that. We want to just get things. I want to get them out of the black dresser that we have in the living room, and get that made so that it's living room, kitchen type of stuff in there, because we need space. As we use up some of this huge amount of food that we still have, as we use it up and we empty out cupboards, we can then start organizing a little bit more even. And maybe bringing some of the paper stuff into the house. Like, we really need to get the glue and tape out of the underneath in the basement area. Get it out of there and into an area here inside, so it doesn't freeze if we do hit some cold weather come fall.
Anyway, I think that's about all we need to say today.
Yeah.
It gives you an idea of where we are in the world.
Mm-hmm. And what we're doing.
What we're doing.
What our little plans are.
And I think that's about it. I think have yourselves a great day.
Yes. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we're going into the casino. We're going to go see.
Okay.
Bye for now.